It's Ed here. Boy, do I have a funny story for you. So I was walking my dog the other day down in the park, right down the street. We were having a great time. I got a couple feet into the grass, and then boom! I tripped over this stump I did not even see. I fell face forward, right there, face plant in front of everybody. It was so embarrassing. But I picked myself up, brushed off. Me and the dog were a-okay. We continued about our walk, got home, we had a good time, right? So I went back today, and I identified where that stump was. I knew what had happened previously, stepped around it, continued the walk, a-okay, no issues today. It was just fine. Wow, Ed, great story. You know what? Dr. Professor Ed here. And you know what? That's history. Beautiful. That's an example of some of the key components of what makes historical literacy awesome, right? Critical thinking and problem-solving skills that we develop based on prior situations in order to enable us to have a better future. That better future can mean a bunch of different things for a bunch of different people, right? So historically speaking, we have a macro and micro context to just sort of like economics. That's where I bring it from. But we have a large scale and a small scale side to the history, right? You've got your own personal history that is the composition of what it has made you today, and of course you've got the globe's history, which is your world history, which is the history of all mankind and really everything here. And it is so it's almost criminally underappreciated by some, of course not by everyone, but the extent to which historical literacy and historical appreciation can play a not just a nominal role in bettering our society, but just it can play a huge role in improving the lives of so many people. And of course it can play a huge role in improving your own individual life. Ed, right? You take that example of not stepping over that, not tripping again, rather, which is pretty nice, not to embarrass yourself twice. But you take that and you apply that to a much greater thing, like getting the critically important activism of Dorothy Day, right? We read the book The Long Loneliness in Gen400, and of course, kind of keeping with that theme, something that was also there, Martin Luther King's landmark speech, "I Have a Dream." Right, his "I Have a Dream" speech. It's just it's famous. It's everybody knows a couple lines from it. But here's what Martin Luther King did, or Martin Luther King Jr. did in a historical context. He goes and he pulls a quote from the Declaration of Independence. Right, you're gonna remember this. So we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. So what he's saying is, we established this historically so long ago in this landmark work, and we claim to be this country of freedom and independence and equality for all, and we're not upholding ourselves to these values, right? We're not doing our best, and we've got segregation, Jim Crow, we've got all these things going on. Let's get to it. Let's get back to the core principles of how we were founded, right? So he takes this historic work and he applies it to a current sense and then a future sense, and he's saying, let's get to this. And what he did there, it's a critical part of understanding and appreciating our history and applying these this moral compass that had been previously established to this sense of the current day, and taking it to build a more equitable and equal society for all people, regardless of race, creed, or anything. So he does that, and it's beautifully well done. And of course there's a lot more. His speech is very much well said. I was gonna say written. But yeah, I digress. But right, so it's definitely worth a look. So he takes that little passage there, and this is just such a minute detail that you can focus on, and like I said, he applies it so well to the current day and to how the future can be held, right? So that's, of course, a more macro sense. And then, of course, you've got the micro sense, like I had mentioned earlier, not falling over the log. But I just feel that, appreciating and recognizing our history is as I said, it's kind of an underrated skill and topic that I think everyone should have, a little bit of intent for, right? We have to appreciate and recognize how far we have come from the past, right? We've come to slavery to, just recently we've got Juneteenth. This is a national holiday, right? Badass, This is sweet. So we can appreciate our history, take into account all the events that have kind of negatively impacted all these people, and see how we've come such a far way to create a better and more equitable society for so many more people, where we have opportunities that we never would have dreamed of in the past, and we've got this and we can appreciate it. But we can also look to previous events and say, well, we've got some more work to do, right? And we can look to current modern day and draw inspiration from the past and say, I think I know how we can do this, right? I have an idea. It's been done before, or I'm emboldened by the work of someone before me, and I want to continue on that legacy, right? And there's just so many examples of that. So we can take all these previous events and really apply our critical thinking skills and make a better future for as many people as possible. And of course yourself included, if you're just looking at it in a micro sense, if you're taking that collection of what your past was and trying to learn from it and build a better future. A lot of people, they've got the saying that mistake is only a mistake if you don't learn from it, right? And that's definitely true. That's in essence a lot of what history is. It can really help us in our future, but it can help us do that. It can help us be a better citizen and be a better person, have better morals, and be more well read, up to date with things. So yeah, and of course it's funny, up to date while you're reading previous events. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I touched on this, and I mentioned just two quick examples of how history can be so meaningful and impactful. And I would encourage all of you, or anyone who ends up watching this, to take it upon yourself to do a little bit of research into your own history. Maybe that's your family's history, uh, or a macro history, more world history. Become educated about other cultures and realize kind of why things are the way that they are today, how you can possibly help in that regard, and just really develop an appreciation and respect for as many people as possible, and just do your best to be a more well-educated, well-informed citizen, a scholar, and person. That's really the aim, right? We all want to be better people. We all want to be able to appreciate one another, and we just all want to have a good time and be able to do those things. So yeah, basically this is it's just a little tidbit from Dr. Professor Ed to you, my friend Ed. Sorry for the rant, but I hope that you learn a little bit, and I hope that you're able to appreciate things more going forward. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Remember to always be kind.